I think, I mean, of course, we're all very happy that we have 21 girls back. We still remember there are hundreds of young boys and girls who were abducted by Boko Haram, and we should not forget that, and we should keep pushing. And again, congratulations to bring back our girls. Everybody's been working so hard in that group. And we will continue. The work is not done. We still have a long way, so it's not yet Uhuru. In terms of what needs to be done, I think the security expert touched on some of the things. I mean, one, we've unfortunately made, there was such a huge media circus made of that. And as we watched it, civil society, we're like, is this appropriate? The first thing we need to be thinking about is the long-term rehabilitation of these girls. In terms of just even psychologically, debriefing, trying to figure out exactly how to begin the process of healing. They've been reunited with their families, yes. We're not quite sure yet. We know that there were reports of some of their parents dying. Some of them lost their parents while they were in captivity. And we need to also begin to think about how can we help them, first as a people, what is the plan? There seems, so far, I haven't seen, I don't know if Buki or anybody else has seen, a long-term rehabilitation plan for these girls. Are they going to go to special schools? What is the plan? What kind of psychological treatments are they going to be getting? What kind of care is going to be given to them? Where are they going to be? What kind of specialized treatments are they getting? Or what kind of specialized care are they going to get? We do not know what they went through in captivity. We can only imagine it must have been quite harrowing. So there's quite a lot that needs to be done. In terms of even just reintegrating them into society. One thing I will say, even as we rejoice at their return, we also need to be asking ourselves some really hard questions. How can we prevent the recurrence of such things? What justice and restitution is there for those who have been in captivity, who have been taken? What can we do to restore, to protect our children even further? So there is a long road to recovery. We want to understand what those plans are. I think one last thing I will say, we know that there are certain entities doing a lot of work. There's the Victim Support Fund doing quite a lot of work in the area of rebuilding and helping to rehabilitate. We've had all the funds and everything, resources at their disposal. We've heard about all that's going on with the Northeast Development Commission and all and all and all. But the question is, how well are victims of terror aware of whatever it is that is in place to help for people who are being rehabilitated? So yes, we have the Chibok girls who are coming back. Even today, I read reports in the press of 2 other girls, I think in Gombe or in Yobe, who were returned or who were rescued by the state emergency or something. They were sent to state emergency. What plan? So Chibok, absolutely. It's also symbolic of the longer-term needs of all those who have been displaced, victims of terror, who actually need to be taken care of over the long term.
Nabuki, if I may bring you back right now, BBOG is still relevant because only 21 girls have come back, but we have 21. So what is the role of BBOG in the lives of those 21 right now? Is BBOG playing any role at all in their rehabilitation? Because these girls have gone through a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're absolutely right. The BBOG as a group is one that was set up to advocate for the return of the Chibok girls. And it also became an entry point for us to converse and advocate for other abductees, talk about the humanitarian crisis and the broader issue of the insecurity in the Northeast. Now that we've started having some of the Chibok girls back, we are not yet done. We still need to have all of them back. But let's look at these 22 that has returned in the last few months. And for us as a group, what it means is we now need to begin to converse on the issue of not just their rehabilitation, but their resocialization and reintegration. What that means is that we're not just going to say, okay, these girls are back and then that is all. Mm-hmm. How do we monitor? What sort of indices are we going to use to measure the extent to which these children are being re-socialized and rehabilitated back. And that begins that conversation around what we have developed before, which is called the VARS, the VAS, where we have a verification, authentication, and reunification system. For us as a strategic team right now, what we have started discussing is an extension of that VARS to VARRS, where we talk about verification, authentication, reunification, and a reintegration system, such that we have a systemic reintegration plan that is prioritized, that is holistic, that is systemic, and that is sustainable, because it is not enough for these children to just come back and we have like a 1 month, 3 month plan. So for us as a group, we are working right now to extend the VARS to the VARRS so that based on research, based on discussion with experts, we can formulate a plan the same way we did with the VARS and present it forward. If we look at the system through which the federal government followed through to the point of reunification, it is a mirror reflection of what we have done in terms of verification, authentication, and reunification. But there is a bigger conversation of the reintegration. And for us, that means we are going to develop specific metrics, we are going to develop specific actions and activities, we are going to develop specific in terms of who should be doing what, and what is the timeline. If we had acted properly when Amina and Keke came back in May, we should have a system right now that this 21 can go through and it becomes seamless. And when we have another set come back, they also fit into that system and we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel or keep going back to what has been done before. So the conversation for us as Bring Back Our Girls right now is the reintegration plan, which is a big one. And I expect, for instance, that the federal government should have something like that. What I know is that at some point, there was a team, I attended the meeting once or twice, that encompasses, different sectors. I know it was talking more about the health sector, but right now what we need is a coordinated team that encompasses of different sectors and ministry, health, education, livelihood, psychosocial, such that all comes together to say, these girls or these returnees are taking at this point, this is how long they have spent, and now that they have come back, what should we begin to do such that they can be re-socialized and reintegrated back into the system? So our work right now as an advocacy group is to make sure that that plan is in place and to follow through so that 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, we have specific yardstick and indices to measure to what extent the federal government and all other stakeholders are ensuring these girls and other returnees are reintegrating back into the society.
Okay, now let's come back to Lagos, Dr. Ikomo. She's talked a lot about reintegration and here mentioned something about how do we ensure that this doesn't happen again? Of course, part of reintegration will mean that the girls maybe will have to go back to school. I don't know what kind of psychology that would, have on them, but what do you think? Do you think we have everything put in place or most of the things put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, the question you ask brings up the issue of school security, community security also, and in fact even personal security in Nigeria. You don't need to go all the way to Chibok to find school kids who have been abducted. Right here in Igbo